The best way to bet the NFL is win totals. In this win projection series, you'll get to see the logic behind Big Ryan the Fat Guy's win total projections and how you can win whatever contest you decide to enter for the 2018 NFL season. Fat Guy, the New Orleans Saints went 11-5 last year. How did you feel their season went?
I think it's New Orleans, or the Big Easy as some like to call it. And if you're calling me, call the line anytime. Now at 11-5, they're one of the stronger teams in the NFL. Now they started off really slowly as their game in Minnesota didn't go quite to their liking. They got trounced. And Adrian Peterson said on the sideline to Sean Payton, "We ask." No, Adrian Peterson, you ask, because as soon as they cut your ass, they went on a winning streak that led them to the playoffs and perhaps further, if not for a miracle play by Stephon Diggs. The Saints balanced their run game and their pass game and brought along their defense, and they were very dominant for the rest of the season after the Adrian Peterson era was over.
It helps when you draft the Rookie of the Year for both offense and defense.
Yes, you're talking about Alvin Kamara and Marshawn Lattimore, and they were both electric.
At head coach, it's Sean Payton again. He's been there 12 years, and in his 12 years, he's gone 105-71 for a 60% winning percentage.
He's one of the better coaches in the NFL. That's probably why he gets paid so much.
And at offensive coordinator, Pete Carmichael is back for his 10th season in a row.
Prickly Pete Carmichael, he's been in the organization for a long time, and I like how he kind of transitioned the team from a pure pass team to more of a balanced team. The Saints have such a strong run game, and I'm glad Pete Carmichael was able to adapt.
At defensive coordinator, it's Dennis Allen's 4th season with the team.
Dennis Allen, former head coach of the Raiders, brought back by the Saints after departing them. The defense really came around last year, and they added even more pieces to kind of double down on that effort. So it's almost transitioning as if the defense is going to be a stronger point than the offense for the Saints in possibly the foreseeable future.
Now for player additions, they've added in quarterback Tom Savage. Figured I'd mention him.
Okay, he's played some NFL games. He has some experience for the Houston Texans, but it hasn't been that good thus far.
At wide receiver, they've switched Willie Snead for Cameron Meredith.
Probably a bit of a downgrade, but we're going to see.
At tight end, they added Benjamin Watson.
The ageless wonder, Benjamin Watson. He's more of a philanthropist than a football player, but he should add some sort of veteran leadership. He used to play for the Saints himself anyways.
On the O-line, they've added Jermon Bushrod.
I'm not sure how much he's going to play, but in a pinch, he should do.
At linebacker, Demario Davis.
Another guy, again, in a pinch, he should do.
At cornerback, they added Patrick Robinson, and at safety, Kurt Coleman.
I'm not big on Kurt Coleman. I think he's a little slow. Not to mention when he got his helmet popped off by CFL running back Trent Richardson.
His knob popped?
I said his helmet popped off, not his knob. Maybe he popped his knob too. There's a lot of knob popping going on.
You think Trent Richardson could pop Kurt Coleman's knob again?
Perhaps, maybe in the CFL.
Now for players they've lost, tight end Kobe Fleener.
He was underwhelming in his time in New Orleans. I don't think it's going to hurt them.
At tackle, they've lost Zach Strief.
They lost Zach Strief to a retirement. This one's going to be a little bit tougher to fill, but they have been drafting offensive linemen like they did last year in Ryan Ramczyk, who ended up working out. So they should be able to be okay. They should be able to get on without him. Perhaps Jermon Bushrod will fill in this position.
It looks like it's the end for Nick Fairley. They also let go of Tony McDaniel and linebacker Gerald Hodges.
Nothing big here. Nick Fairley really had his best years in Detroit. He has a heart condition, I believe. So it is what it is. I'm not sure how long his NFL career is going to last beyond this. Maybe it's over. But I think it's a positive step for the Saints if they're able to upgrade those positions without those players.
So now onto the roster. Quarterback Drew Brees. He's still got it.
Still got it. For a really short guy out of Purdue, he's definitely still got it. I think he was a 33rd pick or something or 31st pick by the San Diego Chargers, who decided to choose Phillip Rivers over him. Brees is definitely a strong quarterback. He's a future Hall of Famer, $5,000 a year yard guy. But they're kind of shifting towards a run game, and he accepted it well, and he played really well despite the downgrade in production last year.
Coming into the year, I really liked Alvin Kamara. I loved him during the season. He played so well. You have to think there's going to be some sort of regression here.
It's going to be tough, especially because he's going to be the bell cow with the brand new today suspension of Mark Ingram, who I think was believed to be suspended for the first 4 games. So Kamara is not going to surprise anyone anymore. We did mention Miss Cleo earlier in this YouTube video, and that's where Alvin Kamara got his inspiration for his haircut.
At wide receiver, Michael Thomas, Ted Ginn Jr., Cameron Meredith. They also added a third-round pick in Traquan Smith, and they have gadget guy Tommy Lee Lewis, as well as the size in Brandon Coleman.
Yeah, Brandon Coleman, the only thing he's known for is his size. And Traquan, I like that name. But Michael Thomas is definitely the star of this wide receiving grouping. Michael Thomas might be a top 5 receiver in the league. I've really liked him since he came out. He was a fantasy darling for me the last 2 years. Michael Thomas is a star in this league.
At tight end, they add Benjamin Watson. They still have Josh Hill, Michael Humawanahuni, and whoever else they got there.
Michael Humawananui?
Yes, that's what I tried to say.
That's a tough one. I'll give you that one. So I if I was going to use my predicting crystal ball, I would have predicted you to mess that one up, and you certainly did.
Why, thank you.
It's a reasonable grouping at tight end, but nothing to write home about. I mean, they added Benjamin Watson, so how good could they really be? It's just more of a weakness for the Saints offense. But if your weakness is at tight end, mostly pass-catching tight end, and you can still kind of block, it's not so bad.
Offensive line left to right is Terran Armstead, Andreas Pete, Max Unger, Larry Warford, and Ryan Ramczyk, with the chance that Jermon Bushrod fills in wherever holes are needed.
Andreas Pete, Ryan Ramczyk, they've all really worked out, and that's a big reason why this offense has had success. The offensive line is young. I mean, Jermon Bushrod was really just for insurance. Of course, they got Max Unger from that trade with the Seattle Seahawks that sent Jimmy Graham away, and I kind of think they've won that trade, seeing as Max Unger is starting for the New Orleans Saints currently. So the New Orleans Saints offensive line is definitely a strength, and that's kind of why they're good in the run and pass game.
Let's move to the defensive side of the ball, where they made huge strides last year.
Huge, as the Donald would say, huge.
Huge. Let's list off some of these guys. It's highlighted by Cameron Jordan, Sheldon Rankins, Tyler Davidson, David Onyemata, first-round pick Marcus Davenport, Alex Okafor. Not much else. A lot of other Jags after him.
They really went after it with that Marcus Davenport pick because they gave up an additional first-round pick to move up. So I'm foreseeing, as you would say in my crystal ball, that Marcus Davenport is going to join Cameron Jordan in wreaking havoc on defenses this coming season. I'm not as big on Cameron Jordan as others are. People seem to think he's one of the best in the league. I'm not sure if he's quite at that designation, but he definitely is decent, and he's definitely a leader on the Saints defense.
Now, linebacker is an interesting position because they have a lot of guys that can play. A.J. Klein, Demario Davis, Alex Anzalone, Haloi Kikaha, Manti Te'o, Craig Robertson, Nathan Stupar.
Now, I thought it was Alex, not Anzalone. I thought it was Anal Zone. My bad. Alohi Kikaha was supposed to be a pass rushing specialist. He's a second-round pick from, I believe, 2 or 3 years ago. He got some sort of knee injury, so he's kind of in a make-or-break season. A.J. Klein, now he played for the Carolina Panthers, who were strongest at linebacker, and had they not drafted another first-round pick beyond Thomas Davis and Luke Kuechly, he'd probably still have a job. So he has a lot of experience with a lot of good people, so he's definitely, I'd say, the linebacker to look out for out of this grouping. Now, Nate Stupar and Craig Robertson, I believe those are both former Browns. Not too much there, but at least they have a lot of guys that can play. I don't expect all these guys to make the team, though.
Now at cornerback, Marshawn Lattimore changed this defense.
He totally did.
Changed this defense.
Marshawn Lattimore turned in one of the better seasons at cornerback last year. He played at almost elite level. I don't know if I can count on him to do the same this year because the bar was set so high, but it was definitely a nice pickup to have your rookie play so strongly last year.
Outside, someone's going to share between Ken Crawley, Patrick Robinson, and Delvin Brio. And then inside, they have P.J. Williams, and at safety, Von Bell and Marcus Williams. They brought in Kurt Coleman. They also have Chris Banjo, the ex-Packer.
Out of that group that you just mentioned, I'm really not sure who's going to start where. Marshawn Lattimore is the only one entrenched at cornerback 1. Everyone else is going to be jockeying for positions throughout the preseason.
Now, what's the strength of this roster?
The strength of the roster is the offensive line, quarterback, and running back. If I had to pick just one, I'd go the 1-2 punch of Ingram and Kamara. However, Ingram is injured, so I'm just, maybe I'm going to go offensive line. Maybe I go quarterback. It's one of those two things.
And just to confirm, Ingram's not injured, but he is out the first 4 weeks with suspension.
Correct. My mistake. Ingram has been suspended. It's all the same. He'll be out the first 4 weeks of the NFL season.
And what's the biggest roster weakness?
I'm going to have to go with tight end, which is a weird thing to say. When Ben Watson's starting at tight end, for as much as I like the guy, he's well past his prime. So that should lead you to believe that there are some issues there.
Now for team grade going into 2018, we have the Saints ranked at a B-.
B-, much on par with the New England Patriots and the Minnesota Vikings. But yes, that seems about right. They're all in the same type of tier. I think you would agree.
For projected wins, we have them winning 9.3 games with their schedule, and their over-under right now is set at 8.5. I'm surprised with that. I figured it'd be higher, but at 8.5, is it worth us betting the over on the Saints?
It's pretty close. I'm going to say yes. Let's take the over on the Saints. I don't foresee Drew Brees getting injured with that type of protection. He also plays a pretty safe game, and he's able to stave off injury. I'm going to say take the over on the New Orleans Saints, and I think they have a good season ahead of them.
Smash that like button if you agree with Big Ryan the Fat Guy. Give us a comment below with how many games you think the Saints will win next season. And subscribe for more NFL projections.
So what? I like cake farting.